The Crimes, a Smithco original fiction podcast. Episode 8, a special Christmas episode. Hello, and welcome back to this episode of The Crimes. In this episode, we're going to be continuing the investigation of Freddy, and we'll be finding where exactly he is now. We managed to track Freddy into Hawaii, where he stopped off and we met with a owner of a little hostel, and we talked with them. So you met him? You met Freddy?
Well, yeah. I mean, originally I didn't know that he was Freddy. He didn't tell me his real name, but you see, I got this mate in immigration, and I said, well, I got this fella. I'm not sure. I mean, would he be able to come in here without a passport? And he's like, well, no. And I said, well, can I? Where would you say his passport probably would be? I mean, would it be accurate? And he said, well, maybe. I mean, it might not be. It might be a fake passport, but it's possible it is a real passport. Anyway, so one day, he went out, and I opened the door to his room, and I was looking around the stuff, going, okay, where's this password of his? Anyway, so I find it in his bag. Pages have been torn out of it. It's been taped together, all this sort of stuff. I mean, really dodgy luck. I don't really think they would accept it. In border control, they probably just say, sorry, no, we won't accept this. But maybe not. I mean, anyway, so he had actually written over the name. But you see, I was wise to that. So I actually, I got this, it was like a magnifying glass, and I was able to see that his original name was Freddy. So yeah, that's how I really knew that was his real name. And that really intrigued me, because I was wondering, well, now I can charge him more.
So you charged him more?
Yeah, well, basically I said to him, well, I know that you've faked a document now, so I can actually have you, arrested, so, you better pay up, or else, I'm gonna increase the rents, and it's okay, you can still stay here, but, the rents are going up. And he said, well, I can't afford those rents, and I was like, well, you're gonna have to find the money. He's like, I just don't have the money. And I said, well, look, here's the thing. How about this? I will be getting you a job. I'll get you a job. And then they can pay me, and I'll just keep it. And in return, you can stay here, and I'll feed you. And he said, well, please don't turn me in. I was like, oh, I mean, go ahead. I'm offering you this. Are you going to take it or not? And he said, well, yeah, I'm gonna take it. So he did. And that was how I got him the job. And then, unfortunately, one day when I was out, he packed up his stuff, all that he could take. Anyway, on hand. I mean, he did leave a big suitcase that he'd bought, with I don't know what money, but I think he may have stolen it, because I remember that he said if anyone comes. If anyone is around the area, don't tell them that I was in the shops today. Tell them I was there. Just if anyone calls, just don't tell them anything, because he clearly just didn't want anyone knowing. Anyway, so one day he just packed up all his stuff and he left.
And what happened then?
Well, I actually don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
However, we do know. We had suspicions that maybe Freddy had passed away, so we talked with the medical examiner in the area. We gave them a photo of Freddy, and they cross-referenced that with their records. This is what happened. Well, yeah, I mean, I've cross-referenced here, and I've looked at it, and it appears to me that, yeah, we have your man. He was unidentified, and there was no passport on him, there's no identification on him. So he isn't actually, his name is unknown. So
Yeah, hopefully this is the same because we don't like not having a name to put to the face. Yeah. So basically, we once when we about maybe 6 to 3 months ago, we found him. Someone found him in a ditch. He probably wouldn't have been brought to hospital if he was alive, but he wasn't alive. So we managed to bring him here and identify him. Or sure, actually not identify him, but put him on the label. And unfortunately, he appears to have been murdered. So he was murdered. Yeah, that's what appears to have happened. I don't want to say positively that he was murdered. However, there were multiple stab wounds, and these are not. I mean, there were multiple stab wounds, and there, some of them were fatal. But he was stabbed 5 times, and one of those was after he was dead. So this it was clear, obviously he couldn't have stabbed himself. I mean, maybe he was stabbed afterwards, and he had stabbed himself, but it's just the stuff were placed, and all these sort of things would lead me as a professional, would lead me to believe that he was murdered. Yes. So what exactly do you think inside of this? Because he was a tourist. He wasn't from this country. So, you'd think that maybe he wouldn't be in the position where people would want to kill him because he wouldn't have enemies in this country as such. Well, I mean, we do have certain gangs in this area, and I mean, if he annoyed them or anything like that, he could have been killed because he wouldn't have had that kind of protection. He wouldn't have been able to say, he wasn't wealthy, and he wasn't from what you say, he didn't have power. So it wasn't like, oh, he would just get a few threats. It wasn't like, oh, he would be left alone. If he annoyed them too much, they might kill. So, do you have an idea how exactly we'd be able to track them down? Well, no. I mean, the fact of the matter is that if this is Freddy, it may not be. I'm going to say that right now. It looks like him, and unfortunately, you don't have a DNA match, do you? No, unfortunately, we don't have a sample of his DNA. Yeah. So I mean, we could try something else, but the point is that currently it looks to be like it will be very hard to go further. I know that your listeners would like to hear that you could track his killers down, but that doesn't seem very likely at the current moment. I guess maybe because the main issue is that unlike when someone's identified, and unlike this, where it's a high profile case, he might be just an ordinary order of kill. So if someone was to admit to a lot of crimes, or be convicted of crimes, they wouldn't generally know his name, and that's the issue because the police can't really do much in this situation. Well, thank you for talking with us, and of course, we hope that the listeners will join us next time when hopefully we'll be looking at solving the case, but possibly not. In which case we probably won't have another episode. But if we do, you'll know we'll be solving the case. See you then. Thank you.